So Sotelo will start things off. Talk to a few people as we talked about the wind. It is whipping out here. We'll see how that affects the flight of the ball and how it is from pitching in the circle. Cody cleaning up the infield already with a little trash out there. Sotelo takes the second pitch for a strike. 1-1's the count. Evangelista in the circle. Clarissa Evangelista. Lays another one right down there. Rio Hondo, 11-11 overall, 4-6 in conference. They do really well at home. They're 9-1, 2-10 on the road this season. Off the foot of Sotelo, fair ball, so she grounds out quickly over to Marquez. Macias will come up now out of La Mirada High School. So Macias batting second for your Falcons. Jasmine batting .378, slugging percentage of .568. She's got 15 RBIs. Stands very erect in the batter's box. Drives it again over to Marquez. Just playing a little infield practice. So 2 up, 2 down quickly here in the bottom of the first for Cerritos. Rocher Leduc comes up. Batting .392 this season. Slugging percentage of .570. Usually see more RBI. She's only got 9 so far and only 1 home run this season. Much more productive last year. And of course, when I was talking to the staff for the Falcons, this has been a year that when you needed a break, if you're a Falcon fan, you know you don't get the breaks when you need them. Driven up the middle for the first base hit of the game. So Manalo comes up, playing left field. Marley batting .277, 13 RBIs. A few people with 13 RBIs for Cody's team. Off the fist, easy little grounder taken there by Bravo for the third out. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. As we head to top of 2, it's Rio Hondo 0, your Falcons 0, here on Sportsnet, USA.net. Nancy Kelly Field, well, I call it the wind tunnel when you think about it out here, because left center has seen its share of home runs, and center field has seen some deep shots gone around it. We talked about it symmetrically, 200, 200, 200. Ed Ford mentioned it over at Cypress College, a smaller field when you look at it. Coach Curdy coaching Rio Hondo for her 17th season. She played softball over at Whittier College. She was a poet. And for those of you that are fans of softball, you know when I say she was a poet, yeah, that's the mascot for Whittier College. That's not what she got her degree in. So not to get any confusion, and everybody goes, wait a minute. Oh.
And Mark, we talked to her. We did an interview with her, 2016, 15, 17, somewhere around in there, at the Dave Hawk Wilder tournament that starts off the softball year up there in Glendale, put on by Sal Pizzo.
Yeah, you look at their season so far, Ed, I'm sure they feel they should have a better season being at 500 and 4-6 in conference. You look at them team batting average at 310.
Well, last year they did well, but they just didn't get that last spot in the regionals. They should have.
Fly ball to right field, taken out as the wind catches it. But tracking it down to right field is Macias for the Falcons. So that brings in Landeros, who was catching today. For Rio Hondo. Talking to John Van Gaston, Ed, he was saying they have a stretch coming up because of all the rainouts, which you talked about the other day. Shot right up the middle, Sotelo gloves it over to first in time. And it was interesting, John said they have 6 games in the next 5 days because of all the rain, and it's going to be difficult to say the least for them in the next 5 days.
Yeah, on Thursday they should be playing East LA, and then they've got a couple of games on Saturday, and maybe there's another one squeezed in there someplace.
Sue Umana now at the plate. Nika hits one over to short. Quick little pickup and throw right there by Diaz. So Miranda Diaz makes the glove play at short, and that gets him out there. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. Hey, we're flying through the first couple innings here. It's the Falcon 0, Rio Hondo 0 here on SportsNetUSA.net.
And as we mentioned during the Cypress game, that Fullerton also in a very tough situation. Brad Pickler got in there, rain or shine or however he was doing it, a slight hole in the rain clouds where there was a gap with some sunshine or just a little bit of cloudiness, and he got his games in, played a lot of games in a row there. And now, you mentioned the Falcons, 5 games in 6 days. Fullerton College, I still believe, unless the schedule has changed, Mark, they're going to have a stretch of playing. It's either 10 or 11 in a row, and that's going to be brutal.
Yeah, that's going to be tough on anybody that's got to do that, to say the least.
I mean, yeah, your softball pitchers have elastic arms and don't get as tired as baseball pitchers, but still, that's a lot of games in a row to throw. And then, plus, the problem is if that was at the beginning of the season, it's not that big of a problem because then the season gets back to a normal schedule and you can kind of rest up. But that'll take you almost into the playoffs, and then you're not as fresh as you could be.
Yeah, exactly. So we head to the bottom of the second inning, starting things off. Velasquez behind the plate today for Cerritos College. Played at Fullerton High School, right across the street from Fullerton College, where Ed was just talking about. Takes that for a strike. Evangelista, sneaky fast. Velasquez batting .340. He's got 11 RBIs, a couple of home runs. Takes it right back to the circle. So she's up and down quickly.
And Rio Hondo had quite the game, Mark, their last game against Pasadena, where I believe they were down, and then they rallied back and won.
Yeah, they did, and they've got to find themselves getting on a winning streak of some sort, Ed, when you look at where they're sitting at right now. Diaz comes up now.
Yeah, really, every game now, especially in the South Coast Conference and also the OEC, but not quite as much, but it's starting to could gel a little bit, that you got to win them all. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're playing a team that you think is weak, that only has 3 or 4 victories. You still have to beat them to keep pace with everybody else.
Yeah, well, we talked about it with the South Coast when we talked about as Diaz fouls that off her foot over towards us. We looked at Cody's team. We looked at Megan's team. We talked about Mount Sac. And like you said, as unworthy as maybe the OEC is to get more than 2 in there, this is going to be a dogfight in this conference to see who comes out and actually makes the playoffs and who just misses.
Yeah, and between innings, we'll give you a graphic. This is not actually what will happen. It's just what might happen if the playoffs were starting right now. The regionals were starting today.
Diaz fouls that off to the right, battling hard.
I think the last game against Mount Sac, she left a few runners stranded, so I'm sure she wants to get her hits in today.
Up the middle.
I say it, and there she goes. So she always gets a hit for me.
There you go, second hit of the day for your Falcons. Evangelista ERA about 3.36 in the circle for Rio Hondo. And of course, when you look at the ERAs and the way the weather's been and the multitude of games that may get thrown at a pitcher back to back to back as Brooklyn Bedoya comes up. Bedoya batting .265. On base percentage of .362. Just 1 out of the RBI lead for the team. The team right now is Sotelo with 17. Bedoya's got 16. Swings through that pitch. One and one count, runner at first. Fouls it off. High fly ball to right field. Looked like for a second there'd be trouble out there, but Guerra tracks it down. So Matty Guillen now comes up. The DP for today. And Ed, you said that Maddie's been pitching too for Cerritos.
She has been. She picked up her first win this year. I think it was last week. I think she went an inning and a third to pick up that win. So I believe she's pitched 3 in 3 different games this season.
Steps over, she looks at that pitch. Maddie batting .245. 17 strikeouts. She leads the team handily in that category. Takes that for a strike. Two and two's the count. Infield in a couple steps at third. Front of the bag at first. Again, stays alive. Just getting a little piece of it right there.
Yeah, the outfield is pretty much straight away, kind of shallow in center field, but nothing like we saw on Saturday with the that shift they had.
Emily Rush came up. They threw an interesting shift against her. They would move the left fielder over by the line. They would take the center fielder, drop her in left, and the right fielder just looked like somebody who was lonely on a Sunday afternoon standing in the outfield. Guillen waits. 2-2 count on her. Drives it down the line. And it's going to be a sweet single for Guillen, who just takes it the other direction for a base hit.
Very nice by Maddie. She didn't play in yesterday's game, but comes into this game and just a nice one of those pool billiard shots right down the third base line.
So here's another one of those small outfielders like Cypress has got. Cameron Curiel. Caps comes up, and somebody else who just uses the bat as a paintbrush. I mean, she can do so much with it. Squares takes that for a ball. She can dance with the bat. You look at Alyssa batting .322, on base percentage of .365. And when they sneak in a little too close, Ed, she can drive it up the alley. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. Bunts through that one.
And it looked like she was bunting towards first base. So a nice push bunt may work in this situation.
Trying to get Umana to field it over there at first for Rio Hondo. She steps in a couple more steps at first now. Caps looks that one's over, takes it a little outside. 2-1's the count. So Marquez inside the bag at third. Umana about 3 feet inside first. Short and second, halfway for Rio Hondo. Caps bunts right through a fastball that's up around the shoulders.
Now it's advantage Rio Hondo. Probably not going to see Caps trying to bunt the ball here.
Evangelista plays with the ball on her thigh. Crouches. Brings the same fastball. Doesn't get the call. She thought she sort of had it, but they called that one high. 3-2, 2 outs. The runners will be going here in the bottom of the first. No score in this one. Caps gets enough of it to foul it off.
Caps just needs to get on any way she can. A walk is as good as a hit.
3-2, runners going. Bottom of the second. Fouled out of play. So we stay at 3-2 with the runners going. Miranda Diaz on second base. Something hit to the outfield. We'll see if Cody's going to send her. Outfield is in. So, Ed, it might be real interesting. Aldretti is just playing a short center field. Taken back up. Evangelista once again handles her defensive position well in the circle. Caps grounds that back to her. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left on base. As we complete 2 innings of play, it's Cerritos 0, Rio Hondo 0 here on SportsNet, USA.net. Ed Ford's going to let us know What sort of scenarios going now, Ed, in softball if the season were to end today?
Yeah. So in the Southern California regionals, Cypress is the #1 team. So this is going to be based on RPI and also conference winners. Cypress is the #1 team in RPI, so they would play one of the play-in teams, and that should be, at this point, would be Chaffey or Santa Ana. Now, Chaffey isn't number 18th in RPI. They're lower than that, but you have to take somebody out of the Inland Empire Conference, and they're the highest team so far in RPI there, and San Bernardino Valley is second. Then it would be Palomar, and they would be playing the winner of the Saddleback Rio Hondo contest if things worked out that way. Mount Sac would get Canyons. Actually, they'd get Pasadena because 3 plays 14, but you're not supposed to play another conference opponent in the opening round, so they flip-flop Canyons in there, and it makes it work out better. Fullerton gets Pasadena, Ventura against Antelope Valley, Long Beach against Santiago Canyon, which is all the way up to 11. Bakersfield moved up in the RPI, so they're at 7. They would play Cerritos because Cerritos is 9th in RPI and El Camino is 8th, so you're not supposed to have, conferences playing each other. So you flip-flop Cerritos and LA Mission, and we'll get to the Northern California, which is a real problem with that playing in conference situation.
Ruiz will lead things off for Rio Hondo. So she'll start things off here in the top of the third. Mariah batting .241 this season. .389 on base percentage when you look at it. Just a few RBIs. She struck out 6 times, walked 3. So hasn't had a lot of opportunities at bat. Only 29 at bats this season so far. Checks on a high fastball. So nice on her part. Vasquez be up next, the shortstop for Rio Hondo. So you start things off with a walk. So they're calling out plays for Rio Hondo. Janet Vasquez out of Montebello. Sure High School. We know that here on sportsnetusa.net. She takes it back up the middle. Diaz steps on second, throws to first, not in time. Nice play by Miranda. Thought she had the double play, but gets the lead runner. So Guerra comes up now, playing right field for Rio Hondo. Drops a beautiful, but just trickles foul. Oh, that was such a sweet bunt. It was just going to die there, and it just found that little way to wiggle its way. Foul. Lefty just dropped it perfectly for Rio Hondo. Here we're playing right field. Takes the next one for a strike. So Vasquez over at first, on with a fielder's choice. She goes, tagged out on a stolen base attempt. And a nice throw over to second, and then you've got to like what Diaz does. She comes up in front of the bag, catches it short, and tags the runner.
Yes, as you could see from the replay, the right call from the umpire.
And the next pitch hit the left field and taken out there by Manolo in right field. So, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. As we head to bottom of 3, we're all tied up at 0. It's Cerritos 0, Rio Hondo 0 here on Sportsnet, USA.net. Ed, did you finish the entire scenario?
No, Northern California, but we had a gust of wind so big there that our infield camera starts shaking and went off the line for a second. And I've got 5-pound weights on it up there.
There we go.
So we may not have that camera all day long, ladies and gentlemen. Or maybe, who knows, we might be down to 1 camera. In NorCal, it would be Solano against Sierra. Sierra's number 1. NorCal does not have play-ins. Solano, you have to have somebody from the Bayview. Solano right now, I think, is 4-16, something like that, 5-16. But you have to have a representative from that conference. They might be the conference winner. Monterey Peninsula would take on Porterville. West Valley, you have to do a flip-flop there. They should take on San Jose, but they're in the same conference, so you have to flip them with Sequoias, and Butte would take on San Jose. San Mateo against number 12 Fresno. Feather River against Folsom Lake, and Folsom Lake doesn't have a plus 500 record, Mark. Then you run into the real problem. You have Cosumnes River, Delta, Sac City, and American River. They're all in the Big East, the Big 8. There's no way you could move them around and make it fair. So I think they would just have to play each other in the opening round because you already have 5 to 6 Big 8 teams. Yeah, you have 6 Big 8 teams. So you can't move them around when you have that many teams.
So it gives you an idea of what, if that were today, what might happen. But Ed, with everybody having so many games to play, that could change by the end of the week.
Oh yeah, the RPI changes daily for some teams.
So Tello will come up. She grounded out the third her first time. She played in all 44 games last year for Cerritos, batted .316. She had 13 doubles, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs when you look at her. She opened the season with a 5-game hitting streak last year. She takes it right back up the middle, drop, flip, thrown to first, and they get her on a bang-bang play and a really sweet play by Rodriguez, who knocks it down, then makes the turn and goes back and gets her.
Well, looked kind of safe on our replay.
That's why we like having replay. So on our replay,
here's the replay again. Well, I don't know.
Could be.
Could be.
Might be.
Could be. It could be.
Well, if we talked to Cody, she'd say, we need more breaks where she should have been safe. Taking down the line. That's going to go to the wall. Easy double. We'll see if it's going to be 3. Cody's going to hold her at second base as Macias drives it to the left field wall for a stand-up double.
And Mark, you talked about luck, and Cerritos has said we haven't had a lot of luck. That first ground ball, if that would have been called safe by the umpire, they'd be in the lead by a score of 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. But they haven't gotten those, Ed. That's one of the things that I've heard people talk about. Cerritos now's got 4 base hits early in this game. And, of course, the reliable first baseman, Leduc, comes up. Last year, she was deadly in these positions. She would drive the ball in any place. Takes it back up the middle, finds an eye. Cody stops the runner at third. So I thought she was going to let Macias keep going, but she stopped her. So now we have runners at the corner with 1 out. And that brings up the left fielder, Marley Manalo.
I was thinking the same thing. I thought they would send her.
So runners on the corner. 1 out for the Falcons. Manalo takes that for a strike. And of course, a single to right gets at least 1 run home. So 3 hits in a row, a double and a couple singles. And Manalo gets an RBI, and Cerritos gets on the board.
Well, that's what they needed. And once again, you want to pour it on. You want to just keep batting around and batting around. Because conditions towards the end of the game might be that offense might take a back seat if it really, really gets windy.
Vasquez standing over there talking with Cody as we might see a little bit of action down in the bullpen for Rio Hondo. So it looks like Lourdes Soria is warming up. Out of San Gabriel, California. So 2 on, 1 in here in the bottom of the third. Just a seeing eye dog. Cody holds the runner station to station. And she does that because they're not going to take a chance with Vasquez over there in left field being able to make a play on the runner. 4 hits now. Infield in. Miranda Diaz. It's a right back to her counterpart, and they're going to get the runner at home. And everybody moves up 1 space. So Miranda a little over anxious on that one. Swung at the first pitch.
Yeah, you want to be aggressive. You know, you want to keep things going, but when the pitcher's starting to struggle a little bit or doesn't have her best stuff, you got to be a little more patient.
Bedoya swings at the first pitch, Ed. That's an easy fly to right. So you load up the bases and you get 1. 1 run on 4 hits, no errors, and the bases stay loaded. As we head to the top of 4, it's Cerritos 1, Rio Hondo 0 here on Sportsnet USA.net. Of course, Ed, we've been around Cerritos and we've talked to Cody, and she said this just isn't the year that they're getting the breaks that they've had, especially like last year. Their whole team was hot. This year it hasn't worked, and they haven't found the pitching in the circle that they had last year either. You know, they had a gunner in the circle last year. This year they haven't found anybody that can just take control and keep them towards the top of the heap.
Yeah, it's pitching by committee now with using 3 to 4 pitchers, Callison and LeDuc and Eastlis. Also
Carranza today.
Carranza and Maddie Guillen. So that's 5 people who have been in the circle. Carranza is a freshman, so not going to say she's still learning the game, but in a sense she is, because to play at the high school level and then go to the community college level, it's a different thing.
Yeah, well, you know, it's that old adage where everybody says, hey, you're the best in high school. Wait, now you're going to move up a letter. You're going to play against a lot of people that were the best at their high schools.
That's true.
You know, so it's that next level where you could strike out everybody. You know, I mean, if we had a foot race and Corey Nalen was next to me, I would win. But, if we brought some youngsters out here, John and I would just say, go, and then we'd sit back down and say, no reason to run. We don't want to hurt ourselves. John,
I'm sure John could outsprint Corey.
He could outsprint Corey and I.
I think he could outsprint Corey if John fell down and did a couple, rolls in the grass and then popped back up. He'd probably, give Corey a little bit of a chance.
Wow.
He'd still catch him and pass him.
Corey Nalen, our secondary voice here in sportsnetusa.net, since we're picking on him. Corey, we miss you today. It's a beautiful day here at Nancy Kelly Field. On sportsnetusa.net.
Well, I'm sure Corey would keep up with the score better than I am.
Little floater out the left field, and perfectly positioned was Manalo out there. She's in 2 steps in. She makes a basket catch for the first out. So a nice play on her part. So Carranza, with good defense behind her today, is pitching well. Lazy fly ball into center. And with the sun sparkling on her glasses, Caps makes that catch. 2 up and 2 quickly down. Rodriguez comes up now. She grounded out.
I don't know. Maybe I don't want to hit too many to the outfield here, because when camera number 2 for the infield fails, John's going to be doing double duty covering everything.
There you go.
And if the center field camera goes out, oh my.
John, we got lots of gaffer's tape. Just stand there. We'll gaffer tape them to your shoulders and everything else, Carranza playing with the ball in the circle, brings it home. Throws it down a little low, taken for a ball.
I watched her during the fall, whatever you want to call that, the fall season, fall non-season, fall semester. She looked good then. So I think it's just, getting some confidence.
Down the middle for a strike.
And as you were saying, not only does that happen in your league, I was the best player on this team, and you were the best player on this other team in the same league. Now you've got a place where you've got people from various leagues coming in. So you're competing against all sorts of other teams and leagues at the same time.
Rodriguez tries to bump one to get on it, leaves it behind her for a foul ball. Yeah, it's real interesting too. And it's the other thing too. When somebody asks you to step up, the season's in the balance. We know where Mount Sac stands in this conference. We know where Long Beach stands. And then you come to Cerritos. It's time to, in these next 5 games, put 5 in a row for Cody and the rest of the team.
Yeah, and Rio Hondo's thinking the same thing. They want to get into the playoffs. And, every game is you got to go out there and win.
Yeah.
Now, I would say, and I'm not trying to disparage anybody, but Mount Sac's not in that position. They really don't have to win every game.
No. Fouled over in our direction. Foul ball. Yeah, I mean, there's certain teams now you look at, and I know we talked about the OEC last week, and you said, hey, some are going to get in on reputation alone. But that's the other thing. For some of these teams, they've got to put up the numbers to get in because reputation is not there.
Exactly. And Rio Hondo's one of them. And we're not saying bad things about Rio Hondo. We're just they get overlooked. They were overlooked last year. They get overlooked, and the top teams don't get overlooked. Interestingly enough, we did that game Saturday, Mark. Ventura lost the first game, shut out by Cypress, and their pitcher, that was the hardest she had been hit.
Flincham, yeah.
Flincham all year.
Carranza brings it. Ball taken back up the middle, base hit. Keep the runner going, throw to third base. It's going to go down, gets away, bounces up, but backed up by Carranza on the play. So we'll give a double. Rodriguez goes to third. So Landeros comes up, catching today for Rio Hondo. So runners at second and third, 2 down. Cerritos up by 1 run in this game. Had an opportunity to get more, just couldn't do it. Popped up down the line. Charlotte Duke goes over and makes the catch for the final out. No runs on a couple hits, no errors, and 2 left on base. As we head to bottom of the 4th, it's Cerritos 1, Rio Hondo 0 here on Sportsnet, USA.net. Ed Ford, John Fox, myself, and Corey Nalen listening at home.
And to finish the Ventura thing, second game they played against El Camino.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was telling Cody and Josh, if you looked in the box score and it said 1 error for each team, no way.
Yeah.
Not even the first inning we saw maybe 4 in the top inning and 3 in the bottom of the inning. But the interesting thing was, Mark, I think that Ventura went up in RPI after losing those 2 games.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing I just don't get. I mean, you know, I know we all complain about it. Corey complains about it. I complain about it. You know, you have said more than once said, why do you get rewarded for losing to teams that are really, really good? And it makes absolutely no sense. And the thing that was funny is the Ventura players were saying that before the game. Now, they might not be saying that now if they went up in RPI. They might be saying, you know what, it's a darn good program.
Yeah, it's a great system.
Yeah. So Manny Guillen will start things off for Cerritos here in the bottom of the 4th. Manny had a base hit her first time up. Cerritos up 1-0. Had bases loaded. Couldn't squeeze any more juice out of the lemon. So everybody took a little taste and that's it. But they're up in front so far, and Carranza is pitching well from the circle for them today. Up the middle. So another hit, and I tell you what, if Cerritos could get points just for hits, they'd be running away in this game. You look at Alyssa Capps last year, batted .294, 30 for 102, 9 RBIs, 14 stolen bases, and a fielding percentage of .932 for the center fielder. Takes that one off. She led the team with 9 sacrifices last year, had 6 multiple hit games, and went 2 for 3 with an RBI on many times when she was up there against LA Mission College in the playoffs. You know, if you can think about it, she was coached by Eddie Garcia over at Downey as she drops a pretty bunt. No getting her. We just talked about her being able to bunt the ball, and Ed, she shows it right there with a beautiful bunt.
Yeah, no chance there at all.
We talked about Sotelo and what she did last year. So now we'll see what Cody's going to do here in the bottom of the 4th. Had bases loaded, only could get 1 run in. Our camera guy's trying to sneak on the field. He figures if that works for an NCAA women's basketball coach during a championship game, it can work for him. So Lourdes Soria now in the circle for Rio Hondo. Sotelo looking to put the ball in play. Everybody creeps in. She showed bunt. People dance off the bases. Double clutch. So Natalie Basurto, make sure I get that right, is now in as a designated runner for Cerritos at second base. Infield fly rule on a little pop-up. And you can just see Cody just thinking last year compared to this year, Ed, on that pop fly.
It's just definitely not what you want in that situation. You know, you can score an out, but put the ball into play somehow so the runners can advance.
So Marquez over at third, Rodriguez at short. Bravo at second, Umana at first for Rio Hondo. Landeros behind the plate. Makes a nice block of a low pitch.
I mean, you get two runners on with no outs. You've got to do something to at least advance them to second and third with one out.
Yeah. And Ed, you just came out of an inning where you had bases loaded and you could only get one run. I mean,
Exactly. You have to, the players have to break through here. They just need to break through to gain that confidence.
Cerritos in their all white uniforms. Rio Hondo in their grays. Strike right at the knees.
And nothing wrong with taking there. I mean, that's better than first pitch swinging. You get a walk, the bases are loaded, you still one out, and you have that runner at third base, so the runner can get in on a fly ball.
Swings through that one. Strike two. Lourdes, 5'6" sophomore pitcher in the circle. ERA 3.66 for her. And again, these are reasonable numbers. Throws it right by, and Ed, swing right through that one.
Yep. Just boom. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, it's the magic that we saw last year just right now is not here for the Falcons. When you look at what's going on, they can get the hits. They've had a few today. Ball down low. They had one hit in the first, 2 hits in the second, 4 hits in the third, and then 2 more hits here in the fourth. 9 hits in this game and only 1 run for Cody's team.
But let's not overlook the good pitching on the Rio Hondo side, getting out of a tough situation where you do get the first 2 runners on, no outs, and then you get the next 2, and that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and they've done that too. They played good defense, no big errors or anything else. That one just off the edge of the plate. Little smile in the circle. Wanted to say to the ump, come on, baby. It was there. It was there. Rio Hondo doesn't get the call they wanted. 3-0 count. 2 outs. Cody's got him flying. If it's a hit, it's hit up. quickly thrown over there, overrun the ball, and maybe that's a break that you need because Nadine Marquez was there, and then Ed, I don't know if the wind caught it and pushed it backwards on her, which could have been, but it blows over the top of her head and gives Cerritos another opportunity.
Yeah. And the Falcons will Duke, you want to make sure that you're not swinging at ball 4.
3-1, 2 outs. Once again, fouled away over the net.
And you know, if you keep popping them up that way, your luck's going to run out.
3-2 count.
She got lucky on the first one where the wind blew at the right time where they couldn't field it, but if you keep popping it up like that, you're going to be out.
Fouls that one away also. Outfield at medium depth. Aldretti back a little deeper than everybody else in center field. Vasquez about even in left. Gura about straight away and right. Fouled away again. So Marquez, Rodriguez at third and short. Bravo and Umana at second and first. Deep at short and second with 2 outs. Fly ball left field coming in on it. And once again, as Vasquez makes the catch, Cerritos comes away with nothing. No runs on a couple hit, no errors, and 2 left on base. As we head to the top of the 5th, it's Cerritos 1, Rio Hondo 0 here on Sportsnet USA.net. Any other games around the area today, Ed, or are we the only ones that are out here in the wind battling the elements here on Sportsnet USA.net?
Oh, I'm sure somebody else is crazily out there playing. There's probably a bunch of games going on, and we'll see if we can take a look at them for you. If we can find out where we're trying to go. Hey, that looks, we're getting close. Well, sort of close.
See, John, see that big tree out there? If something happens to our center field camera, I'd like you to climb up it. You know, ladders, we have a concern with, but the trees, just go ahead and do it. It's no problem.
A lot of games going on, but not a lot of scores being reported, especially up north. But we'll do what we can find. Santa Ana plays Santiago Canyon, and seemed like the Dons were sort of revived and moving up the charts, so to speak. But today, Santiago Canyon clubs them down by a score of 10-2. So, you know, Lisa's got her team moving along, and they're going to get into the playoffs without a doubt.
Yeah.
Top of the 5th inning, we have Moore Park 16, L.A. Pierce 0. That game will be over soon. Antelope Valley is ahead of Bakersfield by a score of 8-5. That's a big game for the Western State Conference. I think they're in the West. Never could figure that one out. Bottom of the 5th, Citrus and LA Valley is Citrus 9 and LA Valley 1. Umana
comes to the plate, takes the first pitch for a ball.
Riverside and Golden West, top of the 3rd. Riverside leading that score by 8-4 in that game at Golden West.
Umana takes the next one for a strike. 1-1's the count.
South Coast Conference score, El Camino, the Warriors, 7-0 over Compton. That's the end of 4 innings.
1-1 pitch by Carranza. Swung and missed.
Pasadena and LA Harbor, game started at 3, but we don't have a score. Top of the 4th, Long Beach leads East Los Angeles by a score of 5-0.
Hit up the gap, off the wall. Long single for Umana from Rio Hondo.
We have a partial, bottom of the fourth, Cabrillo 3, Monterey Peninsula 1. Fullerton beating Orange Coast in the top of the fourth inning. That is a game at Orange Coast. Hornets lead that 4-1. And those other teams in the OEC, Mark, they're in the same situation as some of the teams in the South Coast Conference. They've got to win.
Yeah. Ruiz tries to lay down a bunt to move runners on.
Orange Coast needs to, start winning. If there's going to be a fourth spot given to one of the teams, they certainly need to start battling, because it looks like it's Cypress, Fullerton, and Santiago are going to be the top three teams. The way things are starting to, come together as.
So those are the scores around the CCCAA. Mr. Ford will keep looking at that, besides taking care of the game today with John. Nice strike right at the knees. Kranz's got a nice little two-hitter going here, as we're in the top of the fifth here on SportsNetUSA.net. Fly ball, floater to right, sun in the eyes, grabbed out of the air, quick throw back there. So Macias just backs up, throws up a glove, makes the catch, and it's one away.
Yeah. Let your defense get the outs. You just want to be careful about the way the wind is blowing straight out to right center field, right field, that you don't want them to get it up in the jet stream, because it's not coming down.
Yeah, exactly.
Be out there on the soccer field.
You wake up the baseball players out there. Janet Vasquez comes up.
I wonder if that work truck is finally gone. They still could be out there.
They could be. They're not on double time yet. Vasquez in left field for Rio Hondo, tries to drop a bunt. So you have Manalo in left, Caps in center, Macias in right, Bedoya at third, Diaz at short, Sotelo at second, LeDuc at first, Velasquez catching today, and Carranza in the circle. It's down the first baseline. LeDuc catches it, flips to second. Nice play on her part. They don't get the lead runner, but well thought out by her after making the play at first base. And you just keep thinking, one of those plays, all of a sudden Cody's team's going to find that magic again. We'll see. I think we're going to get a pinch hitter. We are for Rio Hondo. So it looks like Jacqueline Santiago is coming up. So Santiago will come to the plate and pinch hit. Santiago batting .273. Struck out 7 times this season, walked 4, couple RBIs. The freshman catcher up for Rio Hondo. Crouches when she gets ready. Out of Roosevelt High School. Takes that pitch high. 2-0's the count. Runner at second, 2 outs. Trailing by 1. On the corner. So Amana at second base, got on with a single. Little nubber over Sotelo. She flips to first in time. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. As we head to the bottom of the 5th, well, we're sitting at 1. It's Cerritos 1, Rio Hondo 0 here on Sportsnet USA.net. John, Ed, the old guy, happy to bring you with this one as it is flying along. This game's going about as quick as the wind is blowing by our ears right now here on Sportsnet USA.net. And we'll see what happens with the other games coming up. We've got more games right around the corner. We'll be back here to Cerritos, not far from now. Cerritos College. Got a little baseball coming up on SportsNetUSA.net. More softball. Brad Pickler's team, they look, Ed, let's be realistic. Brad's team looks like, at least so far with what we've seen, the team to beat here in the southern section.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You could put Palomar up there, but as mentioned, Palomar hasn't lost, and it's always you're gonna have to lose sooner or later. Don't pick the playoffs.
There you go.
To start losing. So yeah, I mean, and the thing is, we pointed out about Cypress. They have swept doubleheaders where other teams have, they keep splitting doubleheaders. You've got to, and Brad gets his team out in front quickly.
Yeah, he does.
They don't waste a lot of opportunities. They keep hitting the ball and putting people in a hole, and that's how you beat people.
Marley Manalo will lead things off.
Because Mark, I don't think he's going for a pitcher's duel. He's going for, we're going to score 3 runs on you, and then we're going to score
three more
runs, and then you're going to be in a hole, and you're going to start thinking about run rule.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they had a couple run rule games last week.
Oh yeah, and those games are over with what? An hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 25 for the other one.
Yep.
Against Riverside, and I'm not sure who the other one was.
Sinai Dog drops in for Cody's team, and they get another hit. So the hit parade continues here in the 5th inning. Hit number 10 in this game.
Yeah, the Rio Hondo defenders had a long way to go for that one, and so did John on that camera shot, but he was there.
Thank goodness for John.
Oh yeah, we tried to do a game just the two of us last year. That was fun.
Oh yes, yes.
Especially setting up all the equipment.
Especially when we took it down.
Oh yeah.
Because the quote was, John, we're not doing this again. So we'll see if Cody may start a runner. As Velasquez squares, bunts it foul. Looking for run number 2. On a day where our team is hitting the ball all over the field. They're in double digits already with 10 big hits, but only 1 run to show for it. Fouled away. And of course, she's got a few games coming up, so she needs to find this team to, they're hitting. Now she needs to put the runs together besides the hits. On deck, Miranda Diaz. Driven deep to center field. Goodbye. Ed Ford, there was the jet stream. Ed Ford talked about it. Said, watch out if you get it up in the jet stream. Might be the wrong thing to do. And Cypress did just that.
So now the Falcons lead by a score of 3-0 on that big home run.
And that brings up Miranda Diaz. She played in all 44 games last year, batted .287. She had 6 doubles, 1 home run, 18 RBIs, and she was always third on the team with 22 walks. She turned in 8 double plays defensively out there, has one of the strongest arms that you can look at her. She went to California High School, was coached by Javier Macias, was her high school coach in her days when she was there. Takes that one in the dirt. She'd like to transfer to either Cal State Fullerton or Cal State Long Beach. If she's a math major, I'll tell her where to go. And her favorite athlete is Nick Boza. She flinches on that one.
In other words, Mark is saying Cal State Long Beach.
Long Beach.
Or Long Beach State, whatever we want to call it.
Cal State Fullerton is a great business school. They have a wonderful reputation for that right now. Cal State Long Beach is one of the top engineering schools in the nation. Not just in California, but in the nation right now. Diaz gets on first, walks her way there. So a couple runs in on a deep home run right under the scoreboard where it says Cerritos College Nancy Kelly Field, right by the 1978 state championship banner. Brooklyn Bedoya comes up. So 1-1 count. And we talk about the ball flying out here on a windy day like today. Well, if you get a little power and you get it in the right place, it'll go. The way it swings through that one.
Good pitch there that she couldn't find. And, you know, this is the situation where every game means something here in the conference, and you want to pad your lead.
On the outside corner. Well, I thought you brought up a good point the other day, Ed. You said, you know, if you're playing the out-of-conference games and you win or lose, okay, you're not losing to somebody in your conference. When you beat somebody in your conference, you pick up those 2 games. You pick up one in the win column and one. There's a long fly ball. Deep center field, off the scoreboard. Oh, my. Back-to-back homers. Get a runner on and then drive them in with a home run. So a couple home runs this inning.
And you could see it hit the scoreboard on that replay.
And Ed, we just mentioned before that too, where the other one went out in the jet stream right by the scoreboard, Nancy Kelly Field, by the 1978 state championship banner, and that one was smacked. And I mean, it's blowing, but guys, you got to connect. Ed, that's the thing. I mean, we know this is a jet stream ballpark, but you've got to be able to hit the ball to get it out. You brought it up, though, at Cypress. This field is 200, 200, and 200. Isn't that what you said at Cypress?
Yeah, I believe it's symmetric. All fields are the same down the line and to center are all the same distances.
Which is a little different at some of the other ballparks in the conferences.
And one thing that I didn't pass on to our streaming fans, this is the first time we have ever streamed a game with Rio Hondo. So we are trying to stream every community college team in softball. We got a ways to go.
You know, and Coach Arcidi has been there for a while at Rio Hondo. 17 years is what she told me.
Corey Nalen warming up the bus to go down and do a game at Imperial Valley.
There we go.
Check that one off the list.
Let's get a room at the Travel Lodge, and we'll set up our own teepee. Have a little sweat lodge down there. We're so far down in the Southern California area. Ball down low.
I was just thinking, you know, you can buy one of those nice big tarps. I've got one in my garage. I'll loan it to him.
There you go.
It's got a lot of paint on it, but, you know. Well, 5-0. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning, and Falcons looking for more. There are no outs.
Yeah, and you know, Cody's team finally rewarded itself. Fouled in our direction. Cody backs out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, you can't always wait. You know, people, obviously there's bad breaks, but you got to make your good breaks too.
Yeah. You got to make your magic, Ed, when you have the opportunity. 12 hits today, 5 runs, 2 big 2-run homers in this inning. Ball 4.
And there, you know, good on-base percentage kind of thing for Maddie Guillen. She gets a hit, her first at bat, gets on base with a walk, and this can help the Falcons. Now, we've got a runner on, there's no outs. Let's just act like we didn't score any runs in this inning. So let's try to put up a couple more. Put up 3 more, and the game ends.
Yeah. Clarissa Evangelista back in the circle for Rio Hondo. And Guillen's having a great day, Ed. She's been on base all 3 times when she has come up. Of course, John, we already heard that, you know, some of these players come through because Ed Ford's here on the air and streaming these games for Cerritos College. We've been out here and done a little Cerritos soccer earlier in the year.
We did 2 Cerritos football games, including the I think
Playoff
that was
game.
the Western State Bowl when they played Long Beach.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
Magic Matt Rogers on the play-by-play for that one. And the other game was, I can't even remember. It was Cerritos, obviously. Rich Estrella.
Yeah, that's who
Randy
you had
Ritu's
out
buddy,
there.
and who's worked with us over the years off and on, called that game. Oh, that was against East Los Angeles, because East Los Angeles rallied and came back and beat the Falcons in that game.
They did.
That was an important game because that helped put ELAC in the playoffs into a bowl game.
So Caps comes up. Designated runner over at first. 4 runs in here in the bottom of the 5th on a couple just scorched home runs. Caps gets hit by a pitch. So she's on first. And that takes us back to the top of the order, as Sotelo will come to the plate. Popped out to second, grounded out to short, and grounded out to third. She's 0 for 3 so far in today's game.
Yeah, I was just wondering what the conversation was with the umpire. I was thinking, did he start walking down there and say you didn't give an effort to get out of the way? But I think she did.
Sotelo takes that for a strike.
And that's really a fine line call, Mark, because it can go either way a lot of times. I mean, sometimes it's just blatant, but.
Taking Caps. They look, they go to second, get a lead runner. Can't turn 2 with the speedy Caps running down the line. don't take the chance. So Sotelo over at first on a fielder's choice.
And that was a smart play, Mark. You see so many times people start throwing the ball around when they really don't have a shot at getting the runner, and it gets by somebody, and then somebody scores a run.
Yep. Sotelo with the infield end takes second base on a stolen second base, uncontested. So they're in at the corners, runners at second and third. Deep fly ball in the gap. That's their wall. 2 runs will score on a stand-up double by Macias.
Yeah, let's look at that one more time. Launches it to right center field.
So you've got a runner at second, 1 out, up 7-0. They've exploded for 6 runs in this inning, all on extra base hits. Up the middle. Let's see if Cody sends her. She does. Bobbled in the outfield. Taking it home. They score.
That should be the game.
And so that brings us to the end of this game as Cerritos scores 7 runs here in the 5th inning to win this game on a run rule game. Ed, you've got to be amazed. They come up with 2 big 2-run home runs in this inning, and then they come back with another extra inning double that gets them there, and then LeDuc comes up and gets that single to get 7 runs. It looked like they couldn't score anything in this whole game. You and I were talking about it. Can't waste the effort. You brought it up. You've got to do it when you do it. And now Cerritos finds a little magic, and we'll see if that rolls on to their next game.
And plus, John in his cold weather gear, me in my cold weather gear, we certainly didn't want this game to go to, 11 innings like that baseball game. But, the Falcons finally broke through. Instead of waiting for luck to go their way, you got to take it, and that's what they did in that inning, where they just start beating the ball, hitting it hard, driving it.
8 runs, 14 hits, no errors for Cerritos. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for Rio Hondo. So your Falcons get a big run rule victory today as they come away with a victory, 8-0 over Rio Hondo here on SportsNetUSA.net. For John, Ed, myself, and for your Cerritos Falcons, you've been watching Cerritos Softball on SportsNetUSA.net.